Permits can be purchased online and from Lolo National Forest office.
Unique stories that define our state's character. Here's Kevin Mackey with this week's Montana Moment, brought to you by Montana Chevy Dealers.
Tomorrow is Veterans Day, a day to honor all military service members. Missoula's Dale Stovall is a Vietnam veteran. He's the 4th highest combat decorated graduate from the United States Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. He was also part of a team of rescue pilots involved in one of the most daring rescues of the Vietnam War. And on Montana Moment, Kevin Mackey with a history of the Jolly Green Giant.
Dale Stovall is a United States Air Force Academy graduate and a retired Air Force Brigadier General. But when he served in Vietnam, he was a captain and part of an elite group of pilots.
I was a rescue Jolly Green pilot, flying the HH-53, so I was a helicopter pilot.
The Jolly Green Giant call sign was an offshoot of the famous vegetable company's mascot and was coined in the war in 1968.
The survivor on the ground that they were picking up with an Air Force helicopter said it looked like the hand of the Jolly Green Giant had come down and plucked me out of here and saved me.
In his 10.5 months in Vietnam, Dale recovered 12 men who had been shot down over enemy territory. For this interview, he wore the Jolly Green suit that he and other rescue pilots used to wear for parties.
And on the back, there were patches of each of the missions that we flew on. Got the Oyster. That was for Roger Locker, Oyster 01.
The rescue of Roger Locker was the war's deepest rescue into North Vietnam. He and his pilot's plane was shot down behind enemy lines in North Vietnam in 1972.
This aircraft was shot down on the 10th of May.
The pilot told Roger to eject.
Fire was coming into the back of the aircraft.
Roger was able to eject safely.
Pilot on the aircraft was killed. He got a piece of significant terrain between him and the search parties, and he was able to stay ahead of them for 3 days, and then they finally gave up searching for him.
But he was in perilous territory.
They call the Red River Valley, and of course it's highly defended. It was a very difficult place to get people out of.
Trying to get to safer territory where he could call for help, the pilot hid from villagers.
He didn't have the opportunity to move all day and to cover a lot of terrain. He had pretty short windows because they did everything right after sunup and just before dusk.
But after 20 days, he was running out of energy.
And he decided that he may just go ahead and go down to this village and try to get some food because he didn't want to starve to death and not be able to survive a POW. But he overslept. The next day, there was a strike near there. And when everything was over and the aircraft was going out, he called and said, "This is Oyster 01 Bravo. I was shot down 10 May. I'm all right."
Roger was less than 8 miles from a North Vietnamese MiG base with 73 fighters. It was dangerous country. The Sandy A-1 pilot, Ron Smith, could talk to Roger, but he couldn't find him. He was searching in the Red River Valley under heavy anti-aircraft and surface-to-air missiles. After 2 MiG engagements, the A-1s and helicopters were running out of gas and had to return to base.
And day 2, they decided to stop all the air war in North Vietnam and go after him.
Imagine you are deep in enemy territory. You're in desperate need of rescue. Then you hear it. You see it. Was there ever a more welcome sight than the Jolly Green Giant? On day 2, there were 119 aircraft involved in the rescue attempt to protect the A-1s and the Jolly Greens.
It took us about 1.5 minutes to pick him up. There's a train that had parked right where we were going to cross. It was a steam engine. The A-1s attacked it, blew up the gun cars that were shooting and the engine. And then we had another MiG engagement, and they drove the MiG off. This is Roger Locker almost immediately after we picked him up. Of course, he hasn't eaten. My mother had sent me some cookies, so I passed them back to him, and he took them out and stuffed it in his pocket. And later on, he said, if we went down, I wasn't going to be as hungry this time.
Dale credits his whole team for rescues like this. He says he was part of a team doing essential work in war.
You know, my job was to rescue people. We kept them from being killed or captured, and we had an impact on them and their family for the rest of their life. I will tell you that is phenomenally motivating. Once you've done it, you want to do it again and again.
Dale and his wife Carol still exchange Christmas cards with Roger and his family. Kevin Mackey, NBC, Montana. If you want to watch this story again or any of our Montana moments, go to NBCMontana.com/Montana Moment. These unique stories about the Treasure State, its history, and its great people are now the Montana Moment podcast. Look for new episodes every week. If you have a story idea, let us know. Until next time, be safe, stay healthy, and keep making Montana moments.